Well, the DA is mounting two challenges in court on South Africa's power supply crisis. The party wants the court to declare blackouts unconstitutional and NERSA's hike for the next 2 years invalid. Our reporter Bafidele Moerane is tracking these developments for us and joins us from Pretoria High Court, where we understand the DA will actually present their heads of arguments. Bafidele, good morning to you. Let's get, suppose, into the merits of the DA's arguments. They brought this legal challenge forward. What exactly are their arguments?
Well, the argument is that it's really not a good situation for South Africans. All of us in this country are suffering because of load shedding, and government should carry the responsibility. So today, they are exactly going to focus on the tariff hikes. Remember that NERSA has actually approved Eskom's tariff hikes with over 30% in the next 2 years. So basically today, that is the aspect that Democratic Alliance is going to argue on. They are going to put their heads of argument across this morning. In the past 2 days, they have actually been focusing on government, having to say that they want the court to declare load shedding unconstitutional. So we saw government officials, representatives having to come down, where we saw Advocate Bafidele Moerane also having to defend his case on behalf of government and the president, reading out the affidavit from the president where he was stating that they have tried their level best in the past years to ensure that the stability at the power utility Eskom. But Democratic Alliance is saying that it looks like nobody wants to carry the responsibility, and government also it doesn't want to shoulder the responsibility and always pass the buck. So this morning we are going to hear Democratic Alliance, as I indicated earlier, that they are going to present their case before the court, the heads of argument in relation to the over 30% tariff hikes, and then we are going to hear NERSA having to come forward and also argue their case, stating their facts as to why did they have to approve that. This case is taking place at the time when, at the backdrop of a intensified load shedding stages at this point, stage 6, where we are, and a lot of people across the country having to complain, to saying that this is really taking a toll on us, from home to traffic to work, all over, and it looks like there is no solution. We've had government representatives on their arguments having to say that we have just signed a memorandum of understanding with China on the sidelines of BRICS, and we are really hoping that this is one of the things that will really help us to resuscitate the situation. But the court is saying that this is not the first time we come here and argue about load shedding crisis in the country. Remember, there was part A of the court whereby this Democratic Alliance was arguing to say that all the key institutions in the country should actually be exempted from load shedding, and that matter is still hanging. Remember that following the court ruling that yes, indeed, all the key institutions must be exempted, government then appealed the matter. It's not clear as to what exactly is happening with that matter at this point in time. But that, Dumelo, will now go to the court at 10 o'clock, where we're going to hear the arguments being put across by Democratic Alliance.
All right, and we look forward to hearing not only from the DA side, but from NERSA as well, because the DA stance when it comes to those electricity hikes. And we understand that decision by NERSA to grant Eskom a 33.7% electricity hike over 2 years was disapproved by the DA, saying they did not consider the poor when they made this decision. NERSA, on the other hand, saying they did consider the poor. Seems like a tit-for-tat back and forth, but we'll be sure to come back to you, colleague, as soon as, of course, there are any developments around the latest coming from inside court. Bafidele Moerane, our eNCA reporter, giving us the very latest regarding that a legal challenge brought forward by the DA against NERSA, amongst other things, saying that they did not necessarily consider the poor when, of course, initiating that price hike. Most households in South Africa, they argue, cannot afford these electricity hikes.